We went through this at my staff meeting this morning. It took me
Yeah.
like 10 minutes to,
Jeanette's texting.
So I say get Charlie in here.
I know. Should be like our on-call tech guy.
Yeah, so I see bars moving, I think we have sound.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Any questions about section 3.03, the community engagement director? Okay, moving on to 3.04 then.
Okay, so 3.04 is the previous community development director changed.
Sorry, can I go back real quick?
Yes.
So with the community engagement director duties, aren't some of the duties going to be on the park side also?
Yes, but that's addressed in the park section, chapter 5.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be here.
I don't think so. I mean, we can decide when we get to see how it is in 5.
I'll make a note to come back to that. 3.04 is the building and planning director, title change from community development director. I redlined code enforcement officer. I don't know why that was ever in there as that position acting as code enforcement officer.
Well, probably before we had one.
Possibly, yeah,
Because
is what I'm
it-
thinking.
Steve was doing all of that
Right.
at one point.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
We had one and then we removed
Yeah.
them and then Steve was doing both, so
Yeah.
that would probably be my guess.
Yeah, because like when we had the downturn in 2008. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
updated in 2010, so.
Okay.
And then I added in here in the absence of the building and planning director, the mayor shall appoint a person to act as the zoning administrator. It came to our attention that we don't currently have a zoning administrator without a community development director.
Oh.
And that person would be important if somebody came to that department and asked for the maybe
The administrative.
correct, like an administrative
variance
permit
or
or variance
something.
that didn't need
Okay.
to come to planning and zoning, that would be the zoning administrator would have to do that. So the mayor or the city administrator, I'm sorry, the mayor would have to appoint someone in the absence of this position.
And that's discussed in the UDO,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I would also suggest that we appoint Ann as the zoning administrator at the city council meeting on Tuesday, just in the interim till we get a director in that position, in case we need that role filled between now and then. Then the rest of the changes are simply the title changes. Everything else I left the same.
Well, it looks like there's some changes. I'm guessing if it's highlighted, it means there's changes.
For
So
the-
like Public Works?
Yeah, that's down below. I'm just in section 3.04.
Oh, okay, just still in, okay,
Yep.
3.04. Gotcha. Okay. Any comments, questions? Okay.
3.05, city engineer is just the number. 3.06 is a number change, and then last year, the titles for the department heads were changed from superintendent to director, but they were never changed in the code. So this section, 3.06, changes that title, as well as I added qualifications to this section because they weren't previously there, and the other department heads have that section.
Yep.
So I don't know if it was just omitted in error or just never put in there, but I did add that back in.
Thank you. And then they did that in the
Public
public
utilities.
utilities as well.
Yep,
Okay.
same thing for that one. And then the remainder, excuse me, the remainder of the changes are number changes to coincide with the renumbering system for the addition of the community engagement director.
Any comments or questions on the changes in chapter 3?
How about the whole chapter, or just that section?
Parking.
Yeah, the whole thing that we've,
Yeah,
Just looked at.
throughout, because it just changed
Oh,
the
so the rest
order.
is-
yeah, just changed the order of things.
Okay, then, oh, I'm sorry.
I did have a question on 3.13.
3.13.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's establishing a code of ethics board. Do we have that? And if not, are we working on it?
We do not have a code of ethics board, and I believe the question the last time this came up, if I remember correctly, was it's established when needed? Is that the case?
I think
Mayor?
that's correct, but,
That would be required for any and all internal, external ethics complaints or concerns, right? So if, for example, the public would have to meet with this group if they had a concern? Or would you have to establish it at that time, and who would it be? I mean, it can also be something we work on, of course, but I noticed earlier in the reading, I was like, oh, we don't have it,
It's for,
that I'm aware of.
it's for standards and guidelines for the ethical conduct of officers and employees of the city.
So it's mostly internal, right? So if there was an ethics complaint from outside, what would be the route people take for that?
If there was an ethics complaint from outside for one of the employees inside, it would depend on who the employee was.
Oh.
You know, if it was me, then it would go to the mayor. If
Right,
it was
right.
one of, the department heads, it would come to me. If it was one of the staff, it would go to the department head and follow that chain.
Okay. No, I assume that internally that was you. I just figured externally. I'm not aware of any issues, but I'm just saying if there was. Does the public come to that? Where they would request a committee?
I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I
to
don't
that.
know either.
I don't know what the intent of this ordinance
Yeah.
was. It was
I don't think it's ever been-
2004.
I don't think it's ever happened, right?
I don't think so,
Yeah.
not that I recall.
not my tenure.
Yeah, okay.
Now,
Just curious.
I'm curious if we have if there's somebody like city attorney or something that's just, that we appoint as the ethics advisor, just so that that's taken care of if something comes up. Would, that, can advise us if something does come up, rather than, okay, somebody's raised a question.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I
just
agree.
as a-
All right, so I just, as I emailed you, Deb, about the double D,
Yes.
right? So that's gonna be switched. And
Yes.
then all the other letters are gonna switch, and then
Right.
make sure all these paragraphs then relate back to the right place.
Yes.
Okay.
So in the email that you sent with the question on that,
Oh,
a
look at
lot
that.
of those, like, I think it was under gift ban was where that question was. A lot of those were caught when we sent the code to Municode for the whole upgrade and translation back to our system
Oh,
that
yeah,
we're working on. So
Okay.
Municode has caught a lot of those when they did their proofreading. They have sent back the 600 and some pages to us, which we are reviewing a third time.
Yeah.
And then anything we catch, we get back to Municode, they fix. I think we're probably about halfway through that. So that is on the list to make sure they did catch that, but there will be a final review before everything's published. So, and we will, once we establish the changes for this, we'll send this back to Municode as well, and they'll make those changes. They do make changes, they do charge us by the page for changes, so we want to make sure we get, by the request, so we want to make sure we get everything requested with one submittal.
And if they missed it the first time around?
If they miss it, no. If we come back and change it, like this change now wasn't submitted the first time. So if we go to change this now, they're
Okay.
going to charge us for this change. So we want to make sure all of our changes are submitted at once, basically,
Gotcha.
before the final version is published on our website, if that makes sense. Okay, so I have a note to check with council on establishing a code of ethics officer or some kind of oversight to coincide with the section
Ethics advisor.
advisor.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else in 3?
No, thank you, though.
Sure.
Yeah, that's 3.13E.
Yes.
Which will be F.
Oh, yeah, I noticed, because like I said, I was looking at the penalties, and I went back to the section where the penalty was directed to me, I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. Why are you penalizing me for that?
Huh? Okay, so chapter 5.
So, Alderwoman Haderlein, you said you had gone through chapter 5 as well. I did not find anything in 5 other than what I highlighted that I indicated that we needed a change on, and that was,
Yeah, the park board.
is that what you found too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And that would be on page 5, it was page 5, section 504E.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry.
Well, they're not in order, but we're looking at the ordinance.
Yeah,
We're
part.
looking
Yeah,
at the
she's-
ordinances, and then we'll look at these
And then we'll look at-
qualifications?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's, the packet's not, the
So,
packet
yeah,
has
item
the
number
job
6 is-
description between.
Discussion action on
All right,
ordinance
all right,
revision.
sorry.
Yeah.
So we are on, we're on chapter 5, section 504E, where it's highlighted. The park board shall work with the community engagement director. I also added the public works director and the public utilities director, considering Trevor will now fall under Rob, and Director Rousey is working, or maintaining the pool operations. And then section 1 added the same for that section, and the community engagement director in section 2.
So we've just taken what was one staff person, and now there's 3.
For that meeting,
What's that?
for that meeting.
Yeah.
Right, if there's something on the agenda they need to address. If there isn't, or if there's something that I can report for them, that's minimal, then that's how we'll work that meeting. But this would make it accurate as far as the direction provided, depending on whose responsibility it fell under. Particularly with the pool and the operations that will be under Mike's oversight.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's going to be important.
Yeah, I just sort of I'd like to put out there that, that we might, after, at least within a year of these changes, I think it would be wise to revisit things and see how they're working, from a, just from a communication efficiency kind of standpoint, with the parks board and how things are split up, just to make sure that it's working smoothly for everybody.
So-
Just knowing how things have been sometimes with the parks.
On the table of?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're adding a position, right?
Yes, that would be 3.03.
Yeah. I mean, totally new.
What's that?
Totally new position we're adding,
Correct.
yes. And we got 2 vacancies right now then, the new one and,
Correct.
straight.
Right, but it's really not a net position increase because of the parks.
No, it's a
director.
1 because of building planning director, and then you got code enforcement officer, and you got an inspector. So that's a 1, that's an extra position.
No, the code enforcement officers is already in place.
Is the inspector?
Inspector, we have a contract.
We
We can't-
outsource.
We outsource.
Yeah, we
that.
outsource
Oh.
it.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
last meeting, John.
I was there. I was there. Okay.
That's BFNA and
Safe-
Safeco.
safe-
Yeah, I mean, I know, to talk about this some other time if it's even relevant, but I believe Marengo is going to be contracting with McHenry County Planning and Development Office to do their inspections.
For their plumbing.
Just plumbing?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's just plumbing, because right now they contract with HLR for their building inspections.
But they might be changing that,
Okay.
is what I heard from Adam at the county. Is that that the county's looking at hiring a new inspector, so that they can
Do an
increase.
IGA.
Yeah, do
Okay.
more, increase their capacity and provide
Okay.
that as a, yeah. So can watch, keep our eyes
Yep.
open. Okay. Any other questions about chapter 5? No? So John, just to go back to your, to the question, or I guess everybody, to the question about the, whether the changes in the description in chapter 3 for community engagement director, if that's given the changes to chapter 5, if this description is adequate.
So the descriptions in the code for all of the positions outside of the city administrator are fairly
They're fairly generic.
right?
Yeah.
And I think they're done like that for a reason, so that if there's other duties that fall upon those positions, they're not specifically stated.
Right.
Each of these positions has the same duties and the same qualifications, basically, and they're not, specified.
Right.
I don't know how detailed we want to get in our code for that, as much as, when we're doing our job postings or our qualifications for resumes or personnel files.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you want to have job descriptions in the,
Right, or
Code.
detailed qualifications, because then you're kind of married to that if it's in your code.
and I just noticed there are two A's under 3.03.
Yeah, I have that changed
Yeah.
to a D.
Oh, I missed
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
I'm not that good.
Any other code questions? Should we have a motion to recommend this to the council for approval?
I'll make a motion to recommend changes as presented with the corrections once they get back to us.
I'll second it.
You, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you.
I will reach out to our legal counsel regarding the ethics advisor, thank you. It probably won't be before Tuesday with our short turnaround, but for January.
Yeah. Hasn't
Well,
been
can
an
we-
issue so far.
Can we in the city council vote on this, even though it's not finalized?
You can vote on the changes of the ordinance that we
Okay.
talked about tonight, as far as appointing an ethics advisor or what they would direct us to do based on how this ordinance is written. We need some direction on, they would have to review
No, I
the
mean,
ordinance.
with the clerical, 2 A's and 2 B's and.
Yeah, I'll correct it before council.
Okay.
And then that way it'll be
Just write
revised.
it in there?
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll make sure it's all corrected before
Okay.
it's presented in the packet.
Thank you. I'd vote on either way, probably. Truth be told.
Okay, item 7, discussion action regarding job descriptions. We have two job descriptions here, community engagement director and planning director.
Yeah.
Planning and planning director?
Yeah.
That's an excellent title. I love that.
Yeah.
It's so catchy.
I know.
Planning and Development
I
Director.
plan and I plan.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, there's another change that needs to be made. Planning and Development Director.
Like George Costanza with the
No, it's
exporting,
in the
importing.
org chart it says building and planning director. Unless you're gonna change that.
What's that?
Building and Planning Director,
There you
thank
go.
you.
Let's change as little as possible.
Building
Joe, I
and
hope
Planning.
you like that. That's the title, so you're. Oh, no, you're not, that's not you, that's
That's
somebody
not
else.
Joe.
That's not you,
Yeah.
that's somebody else.
Yeah.
That's the Code Enforcement Officer.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we got that straight, all right. Which one would you like to look at first?
Well, let's look at Community Engagement Director. And thank you for the additions. Of
Yes, so the additions to the original that was presented are in red.
Yep.
The first paragraph in red wasn't completely added, it was just modified a bit.
Yep.
And then the key skills and qualifications was a complete addition.
I'm curious, under department responsibilities, what do we mean by evaluate and submit the programming and development annual budget?
So that would be like the Economic Development Fund 72, where that's the newer fund that we established when the Harvard EDC
When that
dissolved.
closed,
And we
yeah.
put that money into
Yeah.
that account, and then we established that fund, which I believe Donovan was working with for 2 years. We did some special programs out of there. We did the
Oh,
presentation.
like the training,
And the training.
yeah.
So that would be a budgeting responsibility for this position based on what types of economic programming needs or other outreach, business development programs, that type of thing. Like, who was it we did, John
Shallert.
Shallert presentations and
Right,
that type of thing.
okay.
So that would involve that budget,
Okay.
which we could actually change to the economic development budget if it's more clear.
Yeah, so it matches. Yeah, because I'm like, so do we have a,
Is there a better way to say experience using survey tools? When I think of survey tools, I think a guy out there with a transit.
Which one are we looking
That,
at?
the bottom bullet.
Oh, online survey tools. Okay.
Survey land now.
Those are good.
So I think for the budget, back to that one, submit the recreational programming and economic development
oh,
budget.
okay.
Well, it's not only the economic, but it's gonna be parks as well.
That, well, yeah, parks program, recreational. So
Parks and
program.
Recreation Programming
Mhm.
and Economic Development.
I'll reword it to match what we call those funds when we budget.
Okay,
So that it's more
perfect.
clear.
okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay. Okay, Building and Planning Director.
The change, I did make other than the title, which has been now corrected again, the under the qualifications, the third bullet point, I highlighted, based on the three asterisks that are at the bottom bullet point, we recently found out there's been a change in legislation. And I actually heard back just this afternoon. You saw that. Effective January 2027, any of our staff that conducts any type of inspection in any of the areas that we've adopted under Chapter 19 in our ICC have to be certified in order to complete those inspections, including our code enforcement officer. Currently, she does not have those certifications, so she has a timeline to do that. We'll be working on that. And if our new building and planning director does not have those certifications, they will have 1 year to get those certifications. In the meantime, we would continue to outsource our inspections with the services we use now. They do have the full certifications needed to comply with that new state statute. So this is going to be something that when we put this out for advertisement for this new person, that we'll have to decide whether we're going to require it from the point of hire, or if we're going to allow that 1 year timeline for this person to be able to bring those certifications up to the statutory requirements.
Yeah.
It may be difficult to find a candidate that has the certifications in all of those
Right.
those categories, because there's several that we adopt in Chapter 19. There's a list at the.
Well, and I'm sure Donovan didn't.
He did not.
Yeah,
He had some. He did
Yeah.
not have all of them.
right.
And some of them, they won't be required. Electrical, we usually would outsource anyway. Plumbing, we're required to outsource because they have to have a state license. But even things like your typical building inspections, your foundations, your driveways, all of those types of things are all going to fall under this new statute. So the larger projects, we would continue to outsource, as we discussed last time. But this is something that, it's going to be something during the interview process and during the application process that's going to probably,
Yeah.
limit our candidates a little bit, depending on how we word that. So we need to think
Well, I
about
think
that.
that they have the ability to attain
Yes.
that within a year.
And there's study materials for that. There's online courses that can be taken, and the tests, I believe themselves are running around $200 or $300. So, it's not a huge expense, and it's something that the city can cover under training budget.
Right.
So, it's doable. It's just something that we just literally found out about like last week, 2 weeks ago. So I'm glad we caught it before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
we did
great.
start advertising, but that's just a note I wanted to make on that.
That statute that changed has to do with tornado warehousing.
It was buried in
Yeah, it was buried in
Yes.
another statute, but it definitely calls out this
Wait,
requirement.
who's warehousing tornadoes?
Essentially, it's for like sheltering during,
Oh,
and to ensure that the building meets the requirements. So, but
Was that Amazon last year?
I think maybe that's what created
Might have,
what
yeah.
was the impetus to it.
wow.
So, but it buried in that statute is, well, now all these, they have to have all these certifications, including code enforcement. So like if you send a code enforcement officer out to look at like a deck
Yeah,
that's being done, well, that's structural, so they have to have the certifications. The law goes in effect January 1st, 2027. If we hired someone after that date, they would have up to a year to obtain those certifications based on how it's written. I just wanted to point out in terms when we go to hire this particular
Yeah.
position, the more certifications they have under their belt, the higher the price point will be.
Mhm.
And
Sure.
I don't believe we will have the budget to hire someone who has all of the certifications under the belt, but we could certainly help someone attain.
I think that's good.
And if anyone would like to read that act, it's Public Act 104-0262, Warehouse Tornado Preparedness Act.
Very long statute.
We had legal counsel review it for us.
So any questions on, or comments on the building and planning director job description?
I'll
There's
make a
one
motion.
weird one. While they're obtaining that licensing, certification, doesn't, put the inspections in question, do they? They
No,
can
because
still
we would-
inspect while
we
they're
would-
doing, while they're
yes,
trying to get it.
Yes,
So if they're approving things without
Right.
that certification, that's still
well,
okay, or is it,
But we would still
would still
utilize
use our
our
source.
outsourcing
Sure.
Right.
until they had those certifications.
yeah, that would be important for the liability on the city. We would want to make sure we still used our licensed inspectors.
thanks.
So by the statute, I just follow up to your question, Joel, that the position, as long as they're not actually doing the inspections, they're not required to have a certification. So, well, in our job description, we kind of want them at a minimum to understand it, and it would be our benefit that they have those certifications. So, in our council, kind of stipulated, like, they could still oversee and not have them and still operate, but if they themselves are going to do any of the inspections, they have to have the certification.
Yeah, I think I would reword this, maybe, any certifications in these categories would be a bonus or,
Preferred.
a preferred, right, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And
But,
I'll list them all that are in our code so they're aware
Yeah.
of what,
Yeah.
what we're looking for.
Yeah, I think it would be preferred or could be obtained.
Or could be
within-
obtained within 1 year.
Good thing we have could attain within a year.
Mhm.
That would, that's how they usually.
John, I think you were going to make a
I will
motion to
make a
recommend
motion
these
to
job
recommend
descriptions.
that we approve the job descriptions as written, along with the edits that Deb suggested, pertaining to the code enforcement. Our code qualifications guy.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, so going to city council, thank you. Item number 8, discussion action to open a new checking account at Harvard State Bank for the non-home rule sales tax road improvement collection funds.
So actually, I just will be brief on this. I was going to prepare some kind of a memo or backup documentation to go along with this, and I ran out of time. So really would like to push the action into possibly the next meeting. What I'm looking to do here is open a new checking account specifically for the collection of the additional sales tax for the non-home rule, particularly because we're going to be handling so much money coming through that account. Right now, it's coming into the general account, and I'm transferring it out into capital improvement just to keep it separate. However, it's kind of commingled in the capital improvement account with funds that we want to do other things with. Given that we're going to be using that as a revenue source to finance our bond, as well as any other additional road improvements that we can do above and beyond what we have left over after the bond, I just feel that it's cleaner and there's more transparency if we can move it into one fund and one account. The auditors will be able to help us separate that out in the ledger at the end of the fiscal year, but I need a new checking account to do that. I'd like to put that in writing so that if anybody ever looks back at the record to see why we did that, there's actually a memo or something. I just haven't gotten to that yet. So I'll prepare that for the next admin meeting, and then
Okay.
we have some time. It's not an urgent thing, and
But,
then
yeah, before
just so
before
you
the
have a little
audit.
heads up of
Right.
what that request is about.
Okay. Any questions?
No, sounds good.
Makes sense, thank you.
It will make it easier to follow too.
Yep.
so.
Yeah.
Just one more line item on the budget to go through.
Yes,
Yeah.
one more thing to go through.
Extra half hour.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, item number 9, strategic vision, anything there? No, okay. New business, any new business?
I do have one quick thing to mention under new business. We had talked about the Harvard Fire Protection District, IGA, at our last meeting, and we were planning on putting that on the January council agenda. In reviewing the permit fees and those things that we talked about that we had to, the details we had to look into, I've been finding that some of our permit fees in the building department need some closer scrutiny, which is another issue. However, I think it would be prudent to wait until the new building and planning director is hired so that they can be a part of this process. So I'm just requesting that we don't put it on the next agenda, possibly look at that in February.
Okay.
Just to give us more time to look at things, make sure everything's squared away on our end, and then have some input from the new director who's actually going to be managing all of this.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
And we can't jump anyway until April or something, right? Because of how we're got a contract right now.
So the contract, I did look at the contract, and it's actually, it was actually not signed. It was given to the previous administrator, but it was never signed. The most recent signed contract we have is from 2022 with City Administrator Nelson, and there's only, it's only a year-to-year contract. So, yeah, the terms.
Automatically renewed.
Are we covered
I
right
think it
now?
just automatically renews. So,
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be an issue as much as just trying to figure out how the fee structures are going to look. I'm trying to determine what exactly we're charging for fees right now versus what we're not, which is the big issue, and looking at what we need to be charging versus what we don't, so that then we can look at, how the fire department IGA will look as far as the details of that agreement.
Sounds good. Thank you. We'll wait to hear.
Any
Any other-
update on the website?
No.
Okay.
Still have not, they're still like 80% complete.
Okay.
So it's been at 80% for a while. Yes.
Okay, any other new business? Okay, closed session to discuss Section 2C1 personnel.
Don't have recorded
It's
at
over
all.
there, I gotta go grab it.
You need
Yeah.
it for closed session.
I'm gonna stop it.
Okay, is there a
Motion.
Yeah,
motion
well,
to go into closed session?
Go ahead and go get that.
Yeah.
We need the recorder, so I think
Yeah.
we should have the motion to go in closed session on the recorder, so we should.
Oh,
wait,
okay, okay. Okay,
Because we have to.
not on the,
Yeah, 'cause
not
we have
on
to
the
audio
feed?
record the, I'm sorry?
not on the, because isn't this,
Yeah, we're live right now.
recorded?
We are live right now,
Okay.
but when we stop that.
Right. which will be after we make the motion?
Yes, that's true, but.
Okay, no, that's
I
fine.
just want to make sure we are covered for
Yeah.
OMA requirements, that we've got everything
Nope.
covered. So
Doesn't hurt.
having the recorder going is
Yeah.
kind of important.
Belt and suspenders.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good.
Okay, have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll motion to go into closed session to discuss Section 2, C1 personnel.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're in closed session.
I'm going to stop the stream and we'll. Make sure this-
They said no because you wanted to keep going.
Okay, could I have a motion to come back into open session?
I'll make motion to come back to open session.
I'll second
Second?
Yeah, second.
Thank you, Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
We don't have to do anything with what we discussed in closed
No.
session?
Just what we did.
I second.
All
Okay,
right.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned.
Okay, we'll stop the stream. We'll start the next meeting.